Welcome back to Marriages for Adults. I'm Bree.
And I'm Juan.
And this is episode 3, where we are continuing on the topic of friendship. So last week we talked about friendship in a marriage and like, is your spouse your best friend? So I kind of wanted to continue on the same topic of friendship, but focusing on humor, laughing with each other, and then especially laughing through tough times. Like, how can you use humor to get through tough times, and like when and where and when you shouldn't use humor. So we have a couple of questions that we're going to kind of like touch on when it talks about laughter. And I also am going to include some scriptures that I've used to kind of like study when it comes to like laughter and humor, kind of looking to see like what the Bible says, and I'll include those in the description of the video so that maybe they'll be helpful to other people as well. So how do you use humor in your relationship is like what my question is. I think I'm funny. I think I'm very funny. Juan's just not that funny to me. And so, my first question then is, how often do you think we laugh in a day? Like, on average, throughout the day, how much do we laugh together?
I'm gonna let you answer this one first.
Probably not that often. Yeah, on a daily basis. One, I don't see you that often.
Okay.
No, it's true. Through text messages we talk and we laugh, but probably not as much.
Why you don't see me that often?
Because you work in LA.
Okay.
Far away from LA.
Okay.
But why do you work in LA? Exactly. So this is the same thing. Like, this is the same thing. So I don't think we laugh that often together. If you're talking like from a friendship standpoint, trying to build on our friendship, but not comparing it to other people. Just in our friend, I feel like our senses of humor are very different. And what he thinks is funny, I don't find funny, and what I think is hilarious, which most people also do, he doesn't find funny. So
that's not
true. Would you what?
It's not true at all. I don't think that we laugh a lot together. Then we're getting better at it, something we're working on. But I don't think it has anything to do with me working in LA and etc. I think it's just and I also
say it has anything to do with you working in LA. I'm just saying that there are certain things that.
I just think that we just have to make a conscious effort to enjoy each other. And I think it goes back to our last episode when we just talked about being friends. And I think, it's hard to laugh with someone when you don't enjoy being around them. So I think it's just really just about us making a conscious effort and being intentional about spending some time with each other, getting to know each other, improving our relationship with each other. And then, I think all the other stuff will fall into line because, even our friendships that we have now, like, they didn't just start, well, some of them did, probably. It just started where you guys are just laughing and all of that stuff. But I think it just takes some work, man. I think it takes work. And I think when you expect things to just fall in line without doing the work, I think it makes it hard to laugh because we're dealing with like real life issues and real life problems that are big. But I think it's like an overall like commitment to like having a spirit of like happiness and contentment and joy and all of those things. So,
but I think at the same time, so Juan always tells me like I have a stick up my butt, which isn't funny because stop. I don't. You do not.
yes, but I mean, but the reason why I say you always acting like you got a stick up your butt or get the stick out of your butt is like, stop taking stuff so serious. Like, life is not.
But there are things to take seriously. Like, there's a time and a place, and like Juan is. I don't want to overgeneralize. He's not always joking, but I feel like if you don't find something to be funny, whether it's like just in general or at the moment, and somebody shares that with you, then it's not funny. So instead of telling that person like, well, you need to lighten up, or like you're so serious, like you need to take it the same level of seriousness that your spouse is taking.
But you're taking it to an extreme. It's not even just like I say this is funny, and you're like, no, and I'm like, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about just an overall, like, just things are not, like, most things are not life and death, right? And so for Bree, like, most things are life and death.
No.
Like, things have to be done right at that moment, at that particular time, and if it's 15 minutes later, then it's like,
no,
oh my
because
gosh.
it's not 15 minutes later.
But we talk about humor, okay? So
no, you want to bring things up.
No, but we're talking about humor, and I'm about to bring it all full circle. So, I mean, it's hard to, like, you can't laugh, like, it's hard to laugh when you're not happy. And if you're not happy, if you're not consciously, like, trying to make sure that you maintain a spirit of like happiness and joy and contentment at all times, it makes it difficult to laugh. And I think part of the reason why like it's been difficult for us to laugh is because we're working on that happiness and being in a state of happiness and not allowing joy and happiness to be some destination over there that we got to get to. Like, oh, well, if we do this, or if we save this amount, or if we do that, then we'll be happy. But just really being able to, I think we're both working on just being able to be happy where we are. And I think when we get to that point and we're able to say, you know what, and I think we're almost there, we're really close to be able to say like, hey, you know what, my life hasn't planned out the way that I thought it was going to be, and you know, and even though I'm working towards it and I have goals to get there, I'm not there right now. But you know what? I'm still happy because I'm appreciative. I'm grateful for everything that I have. I
agree. I just think that you have to be careful with, like, when you say it, how you say it. And it's, like, one of my biggest pet peeves is, like, when somebody tells me to relax. Like, don't do that. Like, if I'm upset about something, don't then come and be like, relax. Like, and then just try to turn it into this joking thing. Like, there's a time, and then that's not the time if I'm upset.
But if it was up to Bree, there's no time.
Like, no, that's not true. I laugh all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but it's about laughing with the person who you have committed to doing life with. I get
that. But what I'm saying is you make it seem like I'm just, like, not happy. And we deal with things that are serious, that are, whether you want to call them life or death, but they're important. And then my thing is, okay, we need to take care of something, and it's like, oh, all right, well, let's just do it later. Since you talked about if I don't get it done, like,
what does this have to do about laughing?
You brought it up because they are tough times, and sometimes there's not a time for laughter.
So what does the Bible say? Because you got Bible verses. What does the Bible say about
laughing? There's a time and a place. There's a time to laugh. There's a time to cry. Which is the point I'm trying to make. And sometimes it's not the time to laugh. Sometimes it's time to cry when something's serious and needs to get done.
Listen, as a couple, though, I think we should have more times to laugh.
I agree.
And I don't think the only times to laugh is when things are not tough. Right? And so I think one of the things that we're working on, I think one of the things that you're working on is being able to be in the storm and still know that things are going to be okay.
Yes,
I agree. I think that if you can't if you don't have a mindset of like things are going to be okay while you're in the storm, there ain't going to be no laughing. And of course we're going to say, of course you're going to say, well, this is not the time to laugh. Well, yeah, well, of course it's not the time to laugh, because if we don't have the mentality that things are going to be okay and things are going to be all right regardless of how this pans out. One of the reasons why I can laugh at that, because I know, like, I've been through some really tough things, and like losing my mom was huge. My mom passed away, for those who don't know, in 2010. She went to sleep and never woke up. And so it was very quick, unexpected, one of the lowest points of my life, one of the toughest times. But I mean, ultimately, like, God is still good. And I understood that, like, even through those really tough moments, that if I can get through that really tough moment, there's really nothing that I've experienced that I know won't end. And my conversation always with everyone is like, all those tough times that people are like in and like you're in this really tough moment, something really bad has just happened, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know if I'm gonna be okay. But like every moment that you've ever had like that, like you can look back, you can attest, like all your tough moments that you've had in your childhood, you're able to look back on them and be like, wow, when I was in those moments, it felt like the world was ending. But now you've moved past them. Like, you're not in them anymore.
I agree. And I think that, yes, like if we ask the question, like, okay, well, how do you laugh through those tough times? How do you, like, laugh? When I say laugh, humor, like that joy, just to be happy in those moments. Yeah, you do have to. I agree. You do have to be able to see beyond that tough situation, and so I think that also you need to be a support. Whoever I feel like is in a relationship that has a more firm grasp on that area. Like if you're talking specifically about us, like that would be you. You have, I feel like, more of a solid foundation when it comes to like being able to see beyond that storm. And I know that I still struggle with that. Like I can get very much caught up in the moment, and so then yes, I can't laugh. Like it's just nothing's funny in that time. But I think
no buts.
However, okay. I think that the person who has that stronger foundation needs to understand and be sensitive to the other person to get that, like, they're not there yet, and so to just, and not to say that you do this like in a harsh way, but like to just kind of be like, you need to understand it's going to be okay, like lighten up. And then that's very generalization. It's not like that's what you literally do, but the spirit of that kind of situation is how I take it. And so I think that to be able to grow and get to that point where you both can be joyous in those tough times, the one who's stronger in like having the joy in those tough times, I feel like you have to be more sensitive to the other person and help them get there. And for me, just saying like, man, you can be so uptight does not help. It almost like makes me recede even more. So I mean, I don't know, like I guess I would have to figure out how to help you help me know how to approach that humor, know how to approach that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, and it's like what you were saying last episode. Oh, tell me what you tell me. Here's using your words. So tell me, right? So, like, but there's some lessons that I don't think like we just gonna have to learn them. And I mean, I think we've been going through seasons of learning lessons, and I think until we learn the lesson, I think we will I think it's gonna, like, we'll keep getting put in situations where, like, the lesson is coming up again. It's like, oh, well, here's another test. Oh, you didn't get it last time. Okay, here it is again. And you didn't learn it last time. Okay, here it is again. Oh, you don't want to learn it, because I do feel like there's lessons that we got to learn in order for us to move like to where God wants us to be. And this is probably some of the more tough moments of your life that, where probably the most, things that are out of your control. I think probably most of your life you've had a lot of stuff that was in your control because you're only focused on you. You dictated.
Yeah.
So like now you're in a position where a lot of things are not in your control, and you don't have a lot of control over where we are, and I think that transition of understanding that realization that like honestly most of your life you never really had control over it.
Well,
anyway.
right. But now it's just like much more apparent because there's other people involved.
Right, and I think that now like we're getting to a place where you're understanding and starting to appreciate the journey, and I think that's one of the things that like allows people to laugh during those tough times. Not really laugh, but allow people to really be able to be at peace during those tough times. Number one, I think you got to go through tough times. Like you got to have experience of going through tough times.
Of course.
And if you've never experienced going through a financial hardship, well, guess what? When you go through a financial hardship, you may not know how to react because you've never been through it. But if you've been through it and you came out on the other side of it, then like, okay, this too shall pass. Like we read all these Bible scriptures.
Yes, I know. So all of that to say that you have to be sensitive to each other. So for me, like I do know that there are times that I need to relax, stop, and not be so aggressive towards whatever the issue is. And on the same token, you need to understand that, like, okay, this is a struggle that's you.
What?
See, he thinks things are funny.
Go ahead, finish.
No. See, this is exactly my point. But I do agree that I think, God gave us laughter and time and wants us to be happy and joyous. And I feel like hardship does hit, that laughter, humor, happiness part hard for me. And I'm just kind of speaking for myself. So, it's like this continual work to not let that just bog me down and to see beyond that. And so you can help me by being more sensitive when I don't think something's funny. Just even if you just back off for a minute on it, and even if it's just about saying like, hey, I understand that you are taking this very seriously, and I don't want you to think that's something that I'm joking about.
Right. Just remember, if there is no joy, there is no laughter. And I think joy / happiness / contentment is a personal decision.
Yes, I agree.
And so I can be a support.
Well, that's all I'm asking. I'm not saying that like it's your responsibility. It's the same way if it's like, well, I want to lose weight and that's my personal decision. And so but then I reach out to people to say, hey, I need an accountability partner. I need you to work out with me. I need you to.
Right. But, well, no buts. And if you say, oh, you're using the gym analogy, well, you want to work out. But if you're not doing your part.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my thing. We can increase this laughter and being able to laugh through the tough times if everybody's willing to do the work.
Right.
Because it's not
just everything.
But true. But just because we're talking about it on this episode, that's what I'm.
Okay, I guess it doesn't go without saying. But yes, we both.
Because if it went without saying, then we wouldn't have to talk about this. So we would just be laughing through all the tough times because it's just so easy. Like, duh.
It's not. And I feel like that's what I struggle with too because I'm a very funny person. So to not be able to, well, I should say to not be able to laugh and joke with Juan, but to, like, it's a conscious decision, honestly, but to struggle with that then bothered me even more because I want that. I want to, like, just have a good time all the time and be able to laugh and joke and play. But now digging deeper into this topic, it does reveal to me the root of the problem, which is like that inner joy that you kind of have to work on for yourself. And like we were saying, ultimately, yes, you can get those support pieces, but it is like, it comes down to you at the end of the day, like finding your happiness and your peace.
That can't be dictated on circumstances.
Yeah.
And that's,
I agree.
If your joy, and I mean, there's people who say like, oh, I'm a happy person, but then we really like sit down and think about like, your happiness and what makes you happy and all of whatever. like if your joy is contingent upon, your happiness is contingent upon circumstances and contingent upon everything going well at your job, contingent upon, you know, how much money you have, contingent upon how many vacations you can take. If it's contingent upon anything that is anything that changes,
Right.
well, that means that your joy, like, you actually don't have control of your joy. And how, like, to me, that's a scary thing when someone else or something else can control your happiness, your mood, etc. So I think we get so much power when we take it into our own hands, and we take that joy and that happiness to our own hands and saying, hey, you know what? No matter what happens, like, I'm not letting anybody or anything. It's kind of like one of those days when you go to work and you're like, I know today is going to be, I'm determined that today is going to be a good day. That's going to probably be the day when everybody's going to try to raise the most hell. But at the end of the day, you're determined. Quick little thing to add. So I talked about when my mom passed away. I had a couple friends. I was actually headed to a party. I got the phone call from my mom, whatever. I was heading home, and my friends thought I was crazy because, like, the whole way home, I was saying, you know, I was telling God, like, oh, thank you, God. Like, you know, you're still good. Like, you know, all of that. Why? Because I was like, I wasn't going to let this moment be the moment that, you know, that I turned my back on everything that I had believed up to that point. And I'm saying all that to say, like, I'm one of those weird people that, you know, in the toughest of times can see those situations and be able to see the glass half full as opposed to being the glass half empty. And so I think it comes easier for me. So it is sometimes difficult for me to understand, you know, Bree and her perspective, because I'm saying, how can you not, hey, look at this. We got a 5-year plan. Right. Yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to do this now. We're going to go live in a basement. We're going to sleep in our car for 2 years.
And that's really kind of how he thinks.
But guess what, though? At 5 years from now, ooh, baby, look, just... And Bria's like, yeah, but I can't see past the, you know, the right now. And so so yes, it does take time.
Well, it's not that I can't see past the right now.
She decides not to see past the right now. It's not that we know she can, but it's like, no, I'm in this, and I'm not. My mood is not changing until these circumstances change.
No, that's not completely true. That's not completely true. No, it's not completely true. I'm just trying to get you to see that. Sometimes when there are times I feel like when you're in that yeah, it's just like if you're not addressing what actually needs to change, then for that moment to move forward, that's what I struggle with. So I feel like then you're not addressing like what's happening in the now. Yeah, we can see 5 years from now, but anyway, that's off topic. We'll talk about that 5-year plan.
We need to.
Anyway, so ultimately, yes, it's about your joy, and I feel like when you really start to focus on that, you can laugh with your spouse. So to kind of like now deviate, if we're just talking about like strictly humor, sensitive humor, do you feel like there are times when like your joking or laughing is to cover up like insecurities? Do you feel like, or that I do that, like anytime I joke around about something specifically, that I'm doing it to like mask something that I'm insecure about?
No. Joking to mask insecurities. Give me an example.
I don't have one.
Good. I was about to say if you had one, then no. I mean, I don't think I joke around for to mask any sort of insecurities. I mean, I think any insecurities that I have, I vocalize it. Things that you say or things that you may have done make me feel a certain way. I vocalize it.
Well, not even like for me. No, I feel like that's more of like, do I joke? Like, how have I joked to like hurt your feelings more than that? But more so like, if you're making your own jokes to like kind of mask what you're not feeling strong about or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't think you do either. But I feel like you have to be careful because I think some people do in a relationship, like something that you're not feeling strong about, you can tend to like make jokes or make light of to like move past that. You know what I'm saying?
Like what?
Let's just say like you're not strong when it comes to, I don't know, managing your time or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so you're always making jokes on the other person, like, oh, you're just so organized and like, you know what I mean? Just making fun of.
Oh.
Because it's like you don't feel strength or comfortable in that area. So do you feel like you do that?
No. I mean, I think...
Or that I do.
I don't know if you do that. I don't really pay attention.
See?
But I do think that... I think there is a... No, I don't think I do that. I don't think you do that either. Do you think you do that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you're really joking me anyway. Next question.
I do. You just... So Juan doesn't think the things I say are funny. He thinks my jokes are corny.
No, you don't even try to joke with me, though.
Yes, I do.
Okay, more recently than anything. Now that you've been reading these Bible verses. But, okay, so don't... If you... I am a person who takes jokes all the time. If you ask anyone, I'm a dad now, so my dad joke game is on point.
No, okay, so we'll be out, right? And we're walking, and he will, like, go out of his way to, like, cross my path to tell somebody, hey, you dropped your nose. It is the most annoying joke ever.
But they love it.
No, not when I have to hear it 30 times before we make it to the car.
They love it.
They don't. People look at him like,
hey,
what?
dropped your nose.
And he thinks it's hilarious. And I'm just like, it's not even funny. It's not.
But that's just, listen, sometimes we are angels unaware. And you don't know what that joke did for someone else. And same thing with us. I just think the root of this is joy in our marriage.
Okay.
A personal commitment to every day being happy, joyous, not allowing. I think one of the things that I think we are working on, that Bree is working on, that Juan is working on, that we are working on, is not, I think we take a lot of time for granted with each other. And when I say time for granted is saying like, okay, well, something happens on Friday, well, you know what, I'll wait till Monday until I'm okay. And we'll waste Friday, waste Saturday, waste Sunday, and then be okay on Monday. And I think that's a mistake because not everybody gets
I agree.
Monday. Some people don't get Saturday and Sunday and Monday. So I think, this idea that like we gotta be able to work on getting in our feelings, like Drake said, you in your feelings, but then we gotta get out of our feelings because it's not like how productive is it for us to be in our feelings and stay in our feelings forever? And when we're in that's part of to me that comes to the joy, which comes to the laughter.
Right, but I also think that,
But
in addition to what you just said, I think that I agree. Yes, we can't waste time, and that is something I'm working on because I'm very much in my feelings and will like let things prolong for days. And it's selfish of me to really like test God, to think like, who am I to say I'm gonna have this attitude, not talk to this person for 3 days, when who knows 3 days from now what's gonna happen. So that is definitely something that I'm trying to continually remind myself, because it's a bad habit that I had, so I have to work on that good habit of getting out of it. With that said, when you are operating in the joy, the sense of humor still, I feel like, so when we talk about joking, because even if we talk about on times that like we're on really, really good terms, I still don't think you're funny. So I don't think that you necessarily.
It's like putting the cart before the horse.
No, you're not listening to what I'm saying. I just said that yes, when the joy is there and we're talking about now fully operating in that, I get that. What I'm saying is I don't feel like you can put constraints on what then the funny looks like. So yeah, we can enjoy each other, but that joke is still not going to be funny to me. However, that joke is still not going to be funny to me. When you tell somebody you dropped their nose, it's still going to annoy me because it's not funny.
It's okay because when you're happy and when you're joyous and when you have that spirit.
Yes, I agree. I say that to say though that you can't then tell somebody like, well, I'm trying to joke and you don't think it's funny. Like, well, it's just not funny.
That's fine, but guess what? I'm still happy though.
That's fine.
I'm still good. Like,
So I think the moral of the story is happiness and joy come first.
Yes.
Then,
Happiness begets happiness.
So do you think that if we trusted God more, we would laugh more?
I'm going to let you answer that one first.
So, well, yes, is a short answer for me. Of those scriptures I was talking about, one of them was Romans 15:13. And I feel like that's something that I'm working towards right now. So we're talking about like personal accountability when it comes to like joy, then that leads to being able to have that humor in those tough times. So yeah, I feel like if I lived less in worry, I'd have more time to be happy. I wouldn't be so focused. Like it takes up the room. Like there's not enough room for both. There's not enough more room for worry and to have joy at the same time or be happy. So if I was able to fully just let go, I would have space for other things. So yeah, bottom line is yes, I feel like if I trusted God more, I feel like I'd be able to laugh more.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, I think of it like, say you're at a restaurant, right? It's you and you have two other chairs and you have worry and you have
Your
joy.
analogies are just...
Come on, man.
Go ahead.
You have worry, you have joy, you have anxiety, and you have like trust in God. But, worry and anxiety are together, and joy and trust in God are together. And you have to invite one group to the table. You can't have both. You can't have like, everyone sitting down and trying to have a great meal, Mm-hmm. Was that a good one? No? We'll edit that one. No, but I think trusting in God is when we get to a point where we trust God. I think, like you said, I think it just moves us into a place where we can be happy in really tough moments. I think we can have joy in really tough times and seasons because you have an understanding that that it's not going to be forever.
Yeah,
it's temporary.
Right, and it's not an easy, like, it's not just, we'll just trust God, you'll be fine. So it's a daily, for me at least, it's a daily journey, struggle. I have relapses all the time where I just operate as if like I have no trust in God because I'm just so worried and so just anxious over things. So it is a daily battle to continue, but each day is getting better, and I'm transitioning out of living in worry to just having those moments of worry that then I'm able to like move beyond. Because it's not to say that something happens, like a tough time happens, and that you're just like, oh, I'm gonna be fine. Like you'll never have a moment where you're just like, oh my gosh, this is concerning. That doesn't go away, I think, for me at least. But it's the response is either, oh my gosh, I don't know what we're gonna do, but we will be okay. Like that comes easier now as opposed to like living in the, oh my God, what are we gonna do feeling.
But I think it comes with experience. Like, I think,
yeah.
I mean, because I said it in the last video, a faith that's not tested cannot be trusted. And I think, how do you know how you will react in those tough times if you haven't been placed in those situations? And I think, it's...
Well, I'm not saying that it has to be the same situation. I mean, you have to have gone through... Something, yes. I don't feel like it has to be in the same category. Like, you could have had any type of tough time. But then when you go into the next tough time, because there will be one... and
as the old people will say, if you haven't been through the tough time, child, just keep on living. Child, just keep on living.
Why do you gotta sound like that?
Because I'm just doing an old person.
What old person do you know sounds like that?
I know a few.
Who?
My dad.
No, he doesn't.
Love you, Dad. Maybe I
Your dad does not sound like an old black woman. Like, what?
You're right.
Anyway, so yeah, I think the bottom line of all of this conversation when we talk about laughing through the tough times is...
That's how Vanette and Vanessa sound.
No, they don't.
What's up, cousins? Tier 1.
Cousins. You're not tier 1.
Okay, anyway.
They understand my humor.
Okay.
I can do a Golden Girls
joke. Can I answer your question, though?
You did answer
No, let me finish. If we trust God, we'll be able to laugh more. And I think we'll be able to be in the place that, I mean, coming from like a Christian perspective, I do feel that, like, you know, we should be laughing and enjoying life, you know? I mean, because we have this faith that, you know, God can do all things, right? Like, people are like, we learned all these scriptures. I can do all things through Christ.
Yeah, I think
I can do all things except, you know,
sure,
get this job, right? Or like find a job when unemployed, or I can do all things except pay for these bills when money is low. I can do all things except, like, so I think those are the moments that, like, we really got to live out the things that we're saying and have this unmitigated gall.
True.
Like
I feel like...
You like that word?
Yeah.
Unmitigated gall.
Spell it.
Let's keep on going.
Okay. I agree, and I think that, like, one scripture that really helps me is, like, if our God is for us, who can be against us? Ooh. So if we live that, and I think that's in Romans 8, if we live that, you can really walk in that confidence and just know that regardless of what I'm going through, that no matter what comes up against me, I will win. Who knows when that victory is going to come, and that's where the hard part comes into play.
Listen.
But if you have that spouse that's there to be willing to be patient with you, if you're the one who is struggling in that area like I am, to then help assist you in laughing through those hard times, but not pushing you. I think that's where the difference comes in. Don't force that, because you can't force joy on anyone. And I think that's what the one who has the joy has to understand about the one who's struggling with getting that. Like, you can't force them to live that. And so it is about being patient. And then the personal accountability as well. Like, I have to know that it's my responsibility to have that inner joy as well. So bottom line is, we have to take that personal accountability and then want to help the other one understand what they're living, their own personal truth at that moment. So,
walk it like you're talking.
Is that a song?
Oh. All right, final words, man. Oh my goodness.
Final thoughts. My final thoughts are, you say final words like I'm just...
Yeah, but when you say it like that, final thoughts, that means something totally different.
What?
Thoughts? Nothing. Go ahead.
So what happens when you listen to ratchet music?
Anyway, go ahead.
My final thoughts are just that. Let go of things that you can't control, which is just about everything in life. And just know, don't beat yourself up over any struggles. Like, just come to the realization, get the personal accountability, and then just move forward. What are you going to do now at this point? Because there's nothing you can do about any of the other hard times that you've had that you weren't able to laugh through. Like, there's nothing you can do about it now. You've learned from it. Now just move forward with it. So, yeah, go find joy. It'll be worth it, and it'll spill over into your relationship when you work on it for yourself personally. And then when you have a spouse who's not funny, like something that I have to suffer from, when you have that joy, you'll be able to laugh even when they really just truly don't have a good sense of humor.
All right. Thanks for those final thoughts. My final thoughts are as follows. Sometimes you may think the other person isn't funny, but it's not their fault that your sense of humor is a little off.
Hurry up!
No, seriously. So look, let's just be real, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to be very blunt. Your unhappiness is not because of anyone else but you. And Bree probably doesn't like it. It's an unpopular thing to say, but
no, it's not that.
I think we have to get out of this space of blaming other people for our own unhappiness. I'm this way because Pookie did this. I'm this way because Anthony did this. Or I'm not happy because you always leave laundry you don't put your clothes in the basket, like all that stuff.
But,
all that stuff, like, to be honest, if we get to a place where we can stop pointing the, like, not taking responsibility for our own happiness, you give a lot of people a lot of power over your own life. And I think when we can take happiness and our joy and our contentment into our own hands, wow, that's extremely powerful.